Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
I know it's only been 3 weeks, but it feels so good to be back in the Voice of the Land studios this weekend. Plus, coming in after finally finding Pineapple Dole Whip in Cleveland, Ohio. I finally felt some of that Disney magic in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm amped up. I'm ready to go. So is my partner across the table. That is Always Positive Jay.
Great to see you, my friend. It's been, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, too long?
Yeah, I mean, we did see each other earlier today, but for the most part, about 3 weeks. Yeah.
Back in studio where we belong.
We'll get into that here in a little bit. And, of course, behind the proverbial glass, it is our producer extraordinaire, Audio, who might be here, don't know, but you'll hear his voice throughout the show. One of the main reasons we are known as the Voice of the Land right here on the Big Play Network, and of course, also partnered with LPV Productions. We are brought to you tonight by Vector Technical. They always get the right person in the right job the first time. More information on them to come as well. We got a lot to get into tonight. We're going to talk Browns because training camp opens, so you gotta talk Browns. Can we talk football? Maybe. We'll answer that coming up in a little while. We'll also talk Guardians baseball, the trade deadline coming up on Tuesday, guys. Will they make a move? Will they stand pat? Buyers, sellers, answer those questions and more tonight. But first, how the heck are you guys? What have you been up to, Jay?
Oh, what have I been up to? Oh, I just only bought a house and redid a kitchen and bathroom in, I think, 12 days and finally moved into a new house and completely exhausted. But I'm finally getting my energy back, and being here helps a lot.
Didn't you have to revamp
everything from the cabinets all the way, ripped the floor up to the subfloor and redid every last thing in the kitchen and did the exact same thing in the bathroom. And I'll tell you this much. If you got the money, pay someone to do it, because it is way more work than I remember doing that. I never want to do this again. But it came out great. I mean, I love the way it looks, and we could say that we did it all ourselves and pretty much. And yeah, it just cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Because Jan and I are looking at houses and trying to get our first house together, but we're kind of at the point money wise where we don't have that ability. Like our second home, we'd be willing to, some of these ones we see that are pretty much fixer uppers. We can't really do that. We're looking for ones that are ready to move in now. So if anybody out there, there's, real estate agents that sponsorships are open, DMs are open at VT_pod.
One thing I've learned doing this is the things that just add up that are so expensive.
Yeah.
The handles for new dress, like when you get new cabinets, just the handles and knobs.
Oh yeah,
that's $100-something bucks.
Yeah,
you got a new shower head and all that equipment. That's $100-something bucks. Sink $200. The faucet goes on the sink. That's another $100. Like all those little things you don't think of, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I'm like, man, I appreciate my parents so much more after all this.
Yeah, the house project is just more power to you. I'm sorry I didn't make it out there. It's just like things are.
We've both been extremely busy.
Yeah, time has not been on our side. So I'm glad that we got to go out and get some of the golf footage film. We did that with Ed Rupert, who is now, we found out, we found out is the new director, because he got a name tag, so he's got to be official, right? I mean,
okay.
So we'll talk on that. But Peter, what have you been up to? What have you and the tail-ups been up to?
Oh my God, it's hard to even think about what we've been up to. It's just been a crazy summer. I mean, we hit Cedar Point a few times. Actually, the family went on Friday. I had to work. They went Friday evening out there, and we were doing some volunteer work over at the Lake County Fair yesterday, helping park cars for raise a fundraiser for the band. And then today I was over in Solon filming the home days parade when I got a call from Jay saying, "Do you need any help?" And I'm like, "No."
So I think we got
a little miscommunication
there. This one. So we got to this golf outing, and I thought that we were just doing a live show, like we're doing this Tonight Show there, pretty much. And I'm like, "Oh, Peter, where you at? I'll help you unload." He's like, "I'm at a parade." I'm like, "What do you mean you're at a parade?" He's like, "Yeah, you were gonna record." I'm like, "Well, how do I set up a live show?" And he's like, Kevin gets started. "No, man, we're just recording like your Tales of Tailgate." Oh, that's so much easier. Thank God. I'm like I said, it's been so hectic. I had no idea what was going on. I'm like,
so busy.
Like, wait, what?
it was a heck of a trek out there. So we were out at we'll just get into it. We were out at Greyhawk Golf Club in LaGrange, Ohio, which is about 50 minutes from Wycliffe. So it would have been like an extra like 10, 15 for you, Peter, from Menor. But easy drive going straight across, and a beautiful, beautiful golf course, golf club. They had 2 weddings there today, like in the main area. So, Ed and his wife were registering the golfers for the US Am Tour here in Cleveland. If you want more information on them and you want to get involved, usamtour.com. And you can kind of search by region, US Am Tour Cleveland on a lot of social media sites. And we got to interview a few of the golfers, but they were only able to be in the pro shop for that. You couldn't kind of go through the whole golf club because they had a wedding that was going to like end at 2.
And they had one starting right after it, pretty much.
Like an hour to switch things over and do another wedding at 3.
I was disappointed because the first thing I ask, of course, is, all right, what's the best food to order at this place? They're like, well, you're not going to get that menu. We got the Kashessin stand open. I'm like, oh. Well, I'll get a hot dog. And it was a really good hot dog, though. Yeah, Sebastian, if you're listening, Greyhawk, great hot dogs.
Shout out, Seabass. Hope you're well, buddy. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna play some of that footage next week, kind of like the Tales from Tailgating that we had during the Brown season. I interviewed a few golfers. I know Todd Krebs, Matt Herrig, great guys, great interviews, gave great tips for new golfers. Got a chance to talk to Ed again. So, friend of show and, anything that we can do to help him.
I just can't wait for everyone to see the 11th hole. That was such a gorgeous hole.
Yes.
And then the one guy, I wish we'd have had on recording because it's an island shot, you'll see, and he hit it and it skimmed across the water and went right into a sewer pipe. He's like, I got it in the pipe. I'm like, is that almost a hole in one, I guess? And I was 2 seconds away from having the camera out. I'm like, oh, I would have caught that on camera, but unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of beautiful, beautiful golf holes at there. And, I got a chance to I was driving Jay around in a golf cart, Peter.
Off-road adventures with Kevin Arnold today. It was great.
That actually sounds like fun.
Oh, yeah, it was fun.
It was a beautiful day today. I mean, it really was gorgeous to be outside.
Normally doing what I've been doing all for the last 2 weeks, I was so happy to just cruise around in the fresh air with Kevin in the golf cart, even though he pretty much would have hit every single hole in the road. But
look, there were holes I couldn't avoid. Hey, you guys know I popped the tire going to the airport on our honeymoon, so I found that pothole that morning. So I'm gonna find every single.
He's like a pothole magnet.
It was still fun though. It was still fun.
Oh yeah, it was really fun and a lot of good content. And like we said, I mean, it was so peaceful out there because Peter, like when you go out there, it's one of those points in Ohio where you've kind of gotten through the suburbs and kind of it's farmland. It's houses,
a lot of cornfields.
Okay. The golf course is kind of wrapped around a housing development, so really nice homes, but it looks like a suburb because they're pretty close together. Jay was saying that there's didn't see any swimming pools in these backyards.
Yeah, I was like, no one has swimming pools. I'm thinking, I'm like, well, yeah, they don't want like people
water hazard
having like pool parties while people are trying to golf and stuff and being loud outside and stuff. I'm thinking it's like a development rule or something. Well, could you live in a golf course?
You know what? I have a friend that built a house in a golf course down in Stowe, and during the pandemic, he actually put in a pool.
Oh wow!
In a ground pool, and he was down. I think his house is on the fairway. I forget which hole, but it's on the fairway, so you can see the green. So like from his backyard, you could actually like drop a couple balls and like try and chip off on
I'd be nervous though. You'd be swimming and someone hits a bad shot and hits you in the head, you're done.
I don't think he's gotten that many that that slice that far off into his yard, but I don't know. I like having like privacy in the backyard.
That's what I said.
I
like if you're sitting in your backyard, I'm like, these houses are absolutely gorgeous and they have beautiful like setups, but if you're hanging out in your backyard, everyone's just playing golf behind you. I'm like, I don't know if I'd really like that. But if you're a golfer, you probably love it.
In my yard, right? I have on the sides, I just have like chain link fence. We have a fence in the yard for the dog. And so I know the neighbors to the side, but the neighbor behind me, I mean, I've lived in the house since like 2005. I've talked to him twice. Once he was up on his roof sweeping the helicopters off his roof. Mm-hmm. The second time is because when I had to replace my fence, since it butts up against his property a little bit, I had to have him sign, make sure that it was okay. That was the second time I talked to him in like, what, 12, 15, 16 years. And honestly, I can't even remember what his name is. I think it's Scott. I don't even know.
It's probably doesn't even start with an S.
I mean, yeah, it might not. But honestly, it's like I go in my backyard and his house is right there. I could see his roof, but I've got that privacy fence between our, and it's
my
great.
new neighbor's name, Karen. I was like, oh, great. But she's like the nicest lady.
She doesn't have the Karen haircut though, right?
No, she's a very nice lady though. But I was like, my aunt told me, she's like, oh yeah, you have Karen. She lives next door. I'm like, I have a Karen next door. Oh, great.
But she's literally a Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her name is.
She's not a mean lady and just follow you around a grocery store and yell at you.
There was a scene. I don't know if you guys saw it. The late show with James Corden on, I think it's CBS. It was like floating around the internet where they did this scene with Tom Cruise and the people from Top Gun Maverick. And, James Corden is like playing like this goofy pilot and he's supposed to be like one of the best, but he's like, his call sign is Honey Butter. And he's makes a comment about Karen, but in the way that Karen has become kind of the, like a name calling type thing. And one of the like actresses, she breaks character and she's like, I take offense to that. My real name's Karen. So I don't know if that's like a real thing or not, but they're like poking fun at that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I mean, I would love to get to know some neighbors here soon. Hopefully,
you guys would find their house soon.
Hopefully something comes through. But I'm telling you, that area over there, even though they got the golf course there, the houses are close together. It is so peaceful. You get out of the golf cart. We filmed like a hole. And just like the sound around you just felt like put you at ease, put you in a calm state. So it's definitely a nice area, and really looking forward to kind of getting that footage out there.
Mm-hmm.
We may or may not be doing a live remote show next week at a golf outing, so it'd be perfect to do that. No matter what, however we do a show next week, we'll make sure to play that footage and definitely reach out to Ed Rupert and USAM Tour Cleveland on social media, USAMTour.com to learn more and see how you can join the tour as well. A lot of great guys, a lot of great people a part of that tour. We're going to hit our first break of the night though, because we got to get into the Browns. I think we've done a great job, probably not for what we need to do, but we've done a great job of not having to talk about it every week. Just like I know people are getting sick and tired of when will Deshaun Watson news come out? Can we talk football? All those questions. We'll get into all of that next. Plus, you can vote on what the Browns field may look like this season. A couple of us have put our votes in. What do you say? What did we say? We'll touch on all of that next, right here on the Voice of the Land, the Big Play Network.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout Northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land. Kevin Arnold, always positive Jay on the other side of the table. And of course, Audio, our producer extraordinaire behind that proverbial glass. We kind of caught up with each other because we haven't done a show all as a group. It seemed like it was only been 3 weeks.
Did we do a show together ever in July?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, I was on vacation last week, which was great in that state up north. Like it was still great because Traverse City at the upper part of the Lower Peninsula, like beautiful lakes.
I mean, anything outside of Detroit, Michigan is pretty nice, dude.
Yeah. I mean, we had to drive through Ann Arbor, but that's okay. Cause I mean,
yeah, as much as I like to make fun of that school, that is a beautiful city. I have to say, I went through Ann Arbor and I was wearing an AJ Hawk jersey. Not a single person said a word to me, which I was shocked, but I gotta say, it was a nice city.
I don't care for the football team.
No one.
But I'll tell you what. There's the university itself.
I mean, it's great.
Like
great
their engineering is really top notch. And I hate to say that because
right. But I mean, we're realistic on this show. Like the academics if someone chooses that school, and if someone got a scholarship to there and they were offered there and not Ohio State, free ride, and they can go get a great education there.
They
You
should
can
go to Tri-C. I'm just joking.
No, but I'd give them crap during football season.
Of course.
No, yeah. I mean, and you have to. Like, we met a few fans. We kind of gave each other.
But that's what's
crap.
fun. It's
Yeah.
not. We don't take it truly personal. We're not going to go to the next level. It's having opposing fans and being friends with. That makes sports fun.
Yeah.
Like if everyone's a Browns fan, who you going to like mess with when you beat them, like, and vice versa. Like that, you got to have fun with it.
Yep. Plus, that state has mod pizza, so
I've heard of that.
I mean, our state does too, and it's down in Columbus where Ohio State is, but I need one in Cleveland. They said they love Cleveland. They responded to my tweet last week. They said they're gonna take it to their bosses. I need mod pizza here in Cleveland. I found my Dole Whip. I need the mod pizza. We got Barrio here, just like there is one in Traverse City. It wasn't as good as it is here. They weren't running things. They weren't running the ship the same way. We can touch on that later too, but we know Cleveland is really known as a football town, though, and we do need to talk football. Browns open training camp this past Wednesday. First one open to the fans
Who was
yesterday.
one of the first ones in?
Oh, that's right. Some guy wearing a great GV artwork shirt for Stranger Things, but one random dude just yelling as
the whole
he walked
time.
in. And somehow he comes out of nowhere. You don't see him around the corner. And then somehow he ends up being the first one that goes by the camera. And he's the one getting the crowd hype. That is always positive, Jay. He found his way to the front.
Oh, yeah. Thanks to my friend Rebecca. She was sitting up front from 8:30 in the morning. She called. She's like, hey, I have an extra ticket. You want to go? And I was just exhausted. I'm telling Tiffany, I'm like, dude, I don't want to go. And she's like, you're getting out of this house. You've been doing nothing but work and you love football. Get out and go. I'm like, okay. So we get there and she's way up front, right up front. She's like, just walk right up to the front. And I felt bad because there's this huge line down that road. And I'm just walking past all these people. And I just go right up to the front. The guy goes, oh, you guys are all going to be on camera. You're going to be on national television and everything. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be on camera? And that's how I got right up front when they said that.
Well, at least you have an outlet like here to get you used to that.
The only thing is, I wish I would have known that would happen because I would have totally wore our t-shirt. Missed opportunity.
It's all right. He had the cards. He was passing them out. He's passing out the business cards for Voice of the Land today too at the golf course. So
yeah, Kevin tried calling me out. He's like, "Did you bring your cards?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did." Did you? He's like, "I'm working."
I was giving him crap. I was like,
don't even look at me. Don't even look at me. And I'm like walking by. I'm like, I'm not looking at you.
Well, he goes walking by with the dog chuck guys, Ed in Columbus, Andy Manchin, and all those
Jacob
guys.
Roach, yeah, all those good guys.
All those good guys, and a lot of the people you see on Twitter and Browns Twitter, like the good side of Browns Twitter, the fun side
Nick
of
Carnes
Browns
is one of the most positive Browns fans you'll ever meet.
Right. A lot of good people. And, I see him and I'm like, Jay, I thought we were going as a show to training camp. I thought we were going to make this a special thing. You get to go before all of us because I'm working and I'm behind the extended bleachers that they now have at the Cross Country Mortgage campus out there in Berea.
Which I love their setup there. They got a really good setup.
The setup,
I'm excited to see it because I've never been in training.
Oh, you'll
camp.
like it.
The setup for fans is great, and like the stuff you can do to interact and kind of keep busy throughout the day because
they have the 40-yard dash you can do. They have the high jump.
Oh, I won't be doing that.
They tried to talk me into it because they all race each other, and I told them I was like, I'd smoke you, but I'm not re-tearing my Achilles for a 40-yard
well, my Achilles is still pretty messed up. So
I did the high jump where they hit all the tabs.
Yeah,
I almost got the top one.
Well, don't come to me for show content with that either. So don't come to me for that either.
We're not.
I've done those things in the
past.
past.
Not racing each other.
But I mean, there is a lot of good vantage points for fans. But I mean, they have a lot of stuff to interact with, like we just said, because it's still practice. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
These guys, especially by next Sunday, they're going up against each other for a week and a half, 2 weeks almost. They're chomping at the bit to get into a preseason game so they can face someone else, really work on some things. So what you'll actually see versus being at a game, it's great for families though, because the tickets are free. You got to claim them online, but it's still a nice event that families can get to go to without having to spend an exorbitant amount of money and get the kids kind of interacting with the players. So it's a great event.
Like the food and drinks there aren't like ridiculously high like a stadium. Like it's all reasonably priced too.
No. But I mean, where I'm working at, I can't see anything. I'm behind these huge bleachers. I can't say anything. So I thought we'd have like the first look at the team all together. So I had to give him a hard time, Peter. So as he walked by,
good. He needs that.
But
humble me a little.
Keep him in line.
One person that is trying to stay in line, I guess, and got a big ovation yesterday from the fans, been the focal point since March, since the move was made. Well, he changed his mind and decided to follow the decision of the Browns to try to trade for him. That is Deshaun Watson, who then accepted the trade and the 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract from the Browns to be the quarterback. Got some cheers yesterday. I saw conflicting reports about the reaction.
The Tom Withers report, which wasn't, he retweeted a report from someone that there was a muted welcome, and I was standing right there, and it was just not true. So it's not Tom Withers' words. I don't know who originally said it, but yeah, that wasn't actually true. And I'm not here to defend or talk the guy up either.
Right? Yeah, I'm not here to do that.
We are real.
Yes. Whether he's innocent or guilty, I still don't feel good about it. I still don't feel comfortable that the decision was made, but I have no control over it. The decision was made. It is hard for me to take Cleveland out of my veins, which means it's hard to take football out of my veins being a sports fan here in this town. So I do support the Browns, and I support the good guys on this team. You see videos of Myles Garrett playing catch with fans in the stands. Even Deshaun Watson, you see videos from training camp. He's playing rock, paper, scissors with kids so that they can win a signed pair of his cleats or a signed cleat from him. He's interacting. You saw Perrion Winfrey. He's a dog. He's barking with the fans.
That guy is so Cleveland. He doesn't even know it yet.
He doesn't know it yet. He doesn't know the true impact of the fans and being at these games. But I think that the players finally got a taste of it. And those that have been brought in over the last couple of years, because training camp had fans last year, but not very many. So even John Johnson III.
Was there training camp last year? I don't think it was open to the fans last year.
I believe there was like select amount of fans. Yeah.
It wasn't like the last 2 years. No, it wasn't like it normally is.
No. And like this year it's back to full go. And so like these players are really starting to get like what these fans are all about all
best
year
fans
long.
In the world.
Best, a little biased, but
so what?
Hey, Clinton Yates, he needs to just shut his mouth too. Yeah. By the way, we never got a chance to talk about that, but him saying that, Cleveland fans just love, they love futility. They love, they're not loyal.
I don't know who
that
dude is. I never heard of this. He means nothing to me.
It's just, again, yes,
Mad Dog Russo though said we were the best fans, and that guy, he's one of the greatest sports talker people in the world.
That's going to go back and forth forever. But I mean, the fans were giving the ovation, and I saw the video that the Browns took of Deshaun running out, because I think he came out of a different tunnel, or he came out as the group was coming out. He was kind of towards the back. I just don't think there was a muted response initially when he came out onto the field, but so many guys were already working. It's once he got into like an open spot that people realized who had come out that people started cheering and yelling his name, and he's waving his hand. So I think pretty much it was a positive reaction to Deshaun. Jay, you said before the show, though, the news might come out tomorrow. And this isn't on you telling us that.
This is reported by Josina Anderson, saying that her sources are saying that the decision should be made sometime tomorrow, they believe.
And Josina's
she's been on it. She has been probably, if you want to pay attention to this whole situation, she's been by far the best at it.
But Peter, if nothing happens tomorrow, are you going to be surprised? Because we've been hearing you could expect it this day. I'm not, and this is nothing against Josina or anybody that reports it. It's just nothing surprises me, especially when we don't hear anything. It's actually more surprising if we do.
I know. At this point, when it comes out, because I kept hearing, decision should be the next day or two. And that's it. And it's just been dragging on. And so, yeah, I mean, hopefully it comes out tomorrow so we know.
I mean, when it happens, trust me, all of Cleveland will know within 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah, because everyone's phone will be blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's going to be reactions no matter what it is. And it could be a suspension that then leads Roger Goodell to put an appeal in. And, if he does that, or if he doesn't like what Judge Sue L. Robinson says, as long as it's not 0 games. If there's 0 games, then that's got to stand pat. They cannot appeal that, I believe. If I've read
Correct.
some of the information
If
on
she says
this,
he did not break the conduct policy rules and found innocent of everything, they cannot appeal it. She has to make a suspension for either side to appeal.
And so that's where the no appeal comes in. But if Roger Goodell, the NFL doesn't like how long it is, they want it longer, they can appeal, and Roger Goodell has final say on that at that point. Or if the NFLPA doesn't like how long the suspension is, and Deshaun Watson's camp doesn't like it, there could be appeal. So tomorrow, if we do get news, it doesn't mean that it's over, but it should be. No matter how you feel about the decision for the Browns to make Deshaun Watson basically the face of their franchise in the most important position in all of sports. I've already expressed how I feel. I know other people feel differently and they want to move past it. That's totally fine. The opinions that come out about how people feel the initial suspension is, those opinions are well warranted tomorrow if that's when we get the news. But I think a lot of us, or if not all of us, can agree this saga has gone on way too long for everyone involved. The NFL is acting like they are the actual judicial system in the United States of America. They are a professional sports organization, a professional sports league. They are not judge, jury, executioner, however you want to say it. They're acting that way, and they're doing this because, and they'll try to tell you that they're doing this to protect the shield. No, they're doing this to protect the money.
It's always about protecting the money,
because they don't care about giving him a year suspension. They'll say is about, adhering to their female fan base and like making sure that alleged acts like this are not just swept under the rug. They don't care because the owner, again, the main point of the NFLPA, Deshaun Watson's camp, it's kind of switched from him saying that he's innocent, which he still feels that he is. Him settling with the 20 of 24 women, I cannot see as an admission of guilt or innocence or whatever, because he still feels like he's innocent. Their message has switched to, well, if you're going to lay the hammer down on a player, where was this for the owners who you say as a league to protect the shield? We hold owners
to a higher
standard than the players. And Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, Dan Snyder in Washington.
Snyder, just alone. That's all. The other two are terrible what they did. Dan Snyder is one of the biggest scumbags in all of sports. And this guy still owns a team. They don't do anything about it. And everything he's done, 0 punishment. Nothing happens to this dude. And how do you say that? Like, how is that even fair or right? Like,
right.
You agreed to this, but you're not like taking your part in it, and everyone else gets punished. On top of the fact that these players are the ones that make all the money for the NFL. It's just the hypocrisy of it all is just hilarious almost.
And Peter, we've talked about it a lot in terms of, yes, taking on the NFL and saying things are wrong. It's hard to do that because they have all the money and they'll still get their way. And just the way things happen in the NFL and punishment for certain acts just is what it is. And you just got to move on. It gets swept under the rug. Everybody gets their second, third, fourth chances. As long as you got talent, doesn't matter. They're going to be out there on the football field. They're not, whatever, or the owners are going to keep their teams, things like that. Like, I understand Deshaun Watson's camp and they have every right to say that. The NFL has got a big problem. And if they try to appeal whatever suspension it is, they're making themselves look worse in a situation that is bad for so many other people and is uncomfortable for people to speak up. And if nothing kind of comes of it, now we're just going through this same cycle that we see in the NFL and just in general in life when these types of things come up.
Well, here's the problem: is the NFL is disingenuous with all this, right? Because you have, everything that Watson's been accused of, accusations. 2 grand juries said not enough evidence to, indict, to go forward with it. And civil suits, you can sue anyone for anything. And honestly, it was probably the case of, let's just get past this because he'd probably spend more money in legal fees than it costs to settle. We'll probably never know what that is, and that's fine. And that happens a lot. People settle because it's just easier to write a check, be done with it, than try to prove your innocence. Because especially in a civil case, you never know, because it's just, if it's a jury trial, they don't necessarily have to go directly by the book, by the law, because it's not a criminal case. So it's kind of like, well, you get a jury that's sympathetic to the defendant, then you lose. So that, to me, that's not like he said, not an admission of guilt. But if there's no suspension, fine. That's what it is. If there is a suspension, I hope that it's a reasonable suspension. Both parties are like, okay, fine, that's it, we're done. Do the suspension, move on. I think if the NFL decides that it's not enough and they appeal it and really try to go after like a full year or anything like that, what really needs to happen is then the female fan base, I think, needs to stand up and say, hold the owners accountable. Because like we've said over and over again, they're supposed to hold the owners to a higher standard, and it doesn't look like they are.
Right.
And until you change the ownership, that mentality there, it's not going to change anything below it.
I mean, and this is just my opinion. I think if it's anything more than 6 games, I think Deshaun Watson's camp's going to appeal. I don't think the NFL is going to appeal anything. I think they're going to go with whatever Sue Robinson.
I think they're smarter if they don't appeal.
That's why I think they won't. I don't.
Yeah,
they're
right.
Like, we appointed this lady and we finally we did what we wanted to do, and now when she makes a decision, we're gonna be like, you know what, we don't like your decision, we're gonna overrule it. Like, that's a bad look.
I think it's gonna look.
We all
really
know
bad.
they're all about how they look.
Right.
Yeah, I think 6 games is kind of that window, maybe where both parties agree. Because I agree with you guys that if there is a suspension levied, all parties just need to say, okay, this is what it is. She is an independent. This is why we brought this type of thing in. This is what she has found. This is what she feels is right. Let's all go with it. Serve the suspension, pay back whatever money is or whatever else is part of the consequences for going against the conduct policy, and let's move on. If it's 4 games, I feel like 4 games or less, I feel like the NFL would appeal to try to what they would say is saving face, but really just to keep this going. And again, the hypocrisy of it all. It all needs to change, and the NFL needs to be held to a higher standard. I know it's all about the money. I know people want to see the games. They want to see football.
But here's the problem with that, though. If it's a 4-game suspension, NFL appeals it, then based on what they've already said before, their appeal would be a year, which would lead to Deshaun suing them, because
Goodell is the final the final say.
And they're just dragging this out. They don't like I said, total opinion, I highly doubt they do it. They want this over with. They don't like any of this news. This is terrible for the NFL. So sooner this is over, the better they are.
Right.
And all they have to do is say we tried to have a year
because
we wanted to stick by her word.
Yeah, because we started this whole conversation, guys, by saying, "Can we talk football?"
Mm-hmm.
We went through the entire segment that we had other stuff planned for, still talking about this. This is not good. Like,
and dude, there's things I love to talk about football. Like, I'm excited about a position change for a player that no one's really talking about. Friend of the show.
So let's hit a break and talk about those things.
Sounds great.
And talk about what the field may look like at First Energy Stadium this coming season in Cleveland. We're going to hit our second break of the night. You want some of that Voice of the Land gear, just like the hat I'm wearing here tonight. Kind of helped put my whole golf outfit together as we did stuff out of Greyhawk Golf Club in LaGrange, Ohio today. Hey, we got just the place for you. Stay tuned to this commercial break and get your Voice of the Land gear at voiceoftheland.com.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land. Went to break talking about continuously the Deshaun Watson saga. When will he be suspended? Jay, I know that you said just Josina Anderson did mention earlier today that she is hearing, could expect something tomorrow at some point. We've kind of heard that before. She's just reporting what she's getting, and she has reliable sources. Things change all the time, especially in that kind of world. So
I'm going to say it's going to come out tomorrow. I got a feeling it's going to come out.
I'm not making any predictions.
No way.
I mean,
I wasn't even going to ask you, Kevin. I'm just like, all right, I'll make a prediction. I'm not even going to bother asking Kevin about predictions.
And this isn't like me, because the running joke on the show is I don't make predictions because of my superstitions or it's whatever. There's just no way to predict this. At the rate this is going, there's no way to predict that. It's going to probably not going to be great for the Browns if it comes out during training camp, and it's the second training camp open to fans. Monday, a hot, steamy day out there, so probably I'm sure tensions are going to rise. Luckily, they had a day off today, but the team is still going up against each other. And we said, can we talk football? The answer so far has been no on this show, but we're going to try right now. And Jay, we went to break with you saying player that we've had on the show going through a position change that you're really excited about. Who is that, and why are you excited?
Friend of the show, Demetric Felton, who was playing running back, kind of like a scat back deal last year. I think he's making the full move to wide receiver because of our, one, overloaded running back room, and two, he's just a phenomenal receiver. Like, his route running is impeccable for a running back, and his hands, he catches everything, if you remember that. And I'm excited because I think he's going to play like that Percy Harvin / like Deebo Samuel, where they could just create wicked mismatches with him with linebackers, pull him from the slot, put him in that backfield, see what the defense is doing. Oh, I'm so excited to see what this new offense is. Now they're running the pistol with Hunt and Chubb finally in the backfield at the same time.
There were looks of that because I know Wednesday there was some storms in the area, so they just moved practice inside for the first day of training camp. Really just a glorified walkthrough, but there were some videos from media with Hunt and Chubb in the backfield right on either side, either hip of Deshaun Watson. So people got excited about that. Just a quick 15-second rant. Trust me, I know that Deshaun Watson is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield and a lot of quarterbacks that we've had since 1999. Gawking over quarterbacks in shorts, throwing to receivers with no one around them doesn't matter, no matter who it is. Stop, please. I try to go on Twitter to get the latest news, and all I see is, oh my gosh, watch Deshaun Watson drop this in the bucket. Oh my gosh, Jacoby Brissett is going to get us through any sort of suspension because look at this throw to someone wide open because no one's covering him. There's no pads. Oh my God, that's how they play the game of football. I thought, oh wait, that's right. It doesn't matter until you go up against another team that schemed for you, and the games actually matter, which start on September 11th in Carolina at 1 p.m. I will gawk at those plays, not when no one is around to defend.
I totally agree with you, but the other
that
end
wasn't
of that,
15 seconds.
The other end of that is that if they're gawking over bad plays and they're just throwing interceptions, it's far worse. if I'm glad that we are complaining about people gawking over good plays, I'm okay with that, I guess. If they're just terrible out there, that's far, far worse.
Oh, and true. You already know that there's the people that the Baker haters are watching Carolina Panthers training camp footage, gawking at Baker throwing interceptions. He doesn't play for you. It doesn't affect us anymore.
I was going to say, I
wasn't going to bring him up. You did, though.
But I just opened Twitter up, and the first thing that popped up was Baker Mayfield throwing interceptions or overthrowing players. So I was like, I don't care.
Right. And my point is that there's going to be people that are still Baker bros that he can't do no wrong, and they're going to find the good plays. And see, I told you he could make all the throws. Look at this one at Carolina Panthers training camp. Again, it doesn't matter. His good throws and bad throws will not affect how the season goes for the Cleveland Browns. It will only affect, if he is the starter, game 1 against Carolina. There are still 16 more games after that. If Deshaun Watson or Jacoby Brissett throw an interception in practice, guess what? They're going up against the same guys, a defense that has been together for several years. They know the offense. Defense is always ahead of the offense, and they see these guys every day. Easier to make those plays than to go against a team that is scheming against you and throwing different looks at you and your quarterback and team beating them.
Is it bad that I'm admitting that I got excited about Cade York's kicks? Is that a little different?
I mean,
because they're really, I mean, there's no pressure, but he's still nailing those 50 plus or yard field goals. And I'm not going to lie, kind of like it.
As much as Cade York might become like my second or third favorite player on this team, I'm going to say yes. To be realistic, I'm going to say yes. It's the same thing because he's going up against nobody and there's no pressure.
I do love that they're bringing him down to the First Energy Stadium to do a lot of kicking. That is fine. I've been saying that for years. Like, why are you even kicking in Berea every day? Go down and practice where the wind is matter.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it. And I'm loving this kid so far. I just love his leg, man. That dude, he's got a boot on him.
Just a little reality check for you. The weather at First Energy Stadium in July is a lot different than it is in November, December.
Of course. But I mean, there's still off that lake, you could still get a good strong wind and a nice day.
Yeah.
As a fisherman.
Yeah, but it's a lot better to do that when it's warmer than.
Oh, I know. I know. Don't just.
I'm not.
Don't be my wet. What is that? The wet blanket or whatever they call it. Let me be excited about a kicker finally, Kevin.
Okay. I'll give you your fun on that one. He did play soccer, so that's.
I knew I'd get him with the soccer guy.
There you go. So, but speaking of First Energy Stadium, though, we see that there's different designs on the field each year. I don't know.
Well, no, there's never been a logo really for how many years in the 50-yard line.
I think I've seen the helmet in the middle of the field.
It's been a while since they've had a logo.
But there's different looks to it, the way it's lined.
Didn't they have like the B shield? You know Well, I don't even know what they call that. I actually do like that logo. But
it's the football with the B.
The football with the B, with the stripe.
Yeah, I've seen that the end zones have looked different. They even had special ones when they did the color rush uniforms too. So it's always looked different, and I don't know what percentage of the fan vote is actually going to go into it, or if that's going to determine it.
They should have fun with it.
But if you go to Browns.com at the top, there's a link to go vote for the way the field's going to look. And we're going to pull them up right now. So this is courtesy of Browns.com and whatever system they're using for the voting system.
And audio's hard work.
And audio's hard work. So
just cut and paste.
We have 4
hard work.
Cut and paste. That's the best way to do it. Control C, Control P. That's all you got to do. Oh no, Control P is print.
Control when you say cut and paste right now, I feel like I'm back at work. I'm pasting drywall and cutting myself.
And cut is Control X. So I got that completely wrong. But I'm not a computer.
Well, Control C is copy. So
so that's why we got the AI system audio.
We're all good.
So we got 4 options. We're gonna pull up.
We'll look at one. So there's option number one.
So with number 1, and since you can't see me on camera, I'm actually gonna look at the TV screen, so it doesn't look weird anymore. So option number 1 that comes up, it looks like the Browns helmet in the center of the field. Then in the end zones, it is the word Browns in both sides.
In white.
In white.
The elf on each side.
Yeah, the elf on the side with the B, then the of course the AFC logo, the A with the 4 stars going down the right side on the other side, and of course the letters are trimmed in orange. We go on to option number 2. We have Brownie the Elf kind of doing the Heisman pose, sort of.
They more or less switched the elf and the helmet out.
Yes, basically. So the
Brownie... That's the original elf, correct? I think that's the original elf.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll say right now the original elf, and I have the GV artwork shirt where it's kind of a skeleton. That's my favorite.
Well, that's a sweet shirt. That really is.
I saw so many people with that yesterday. I was like talking to them, and I was like, dude, I got more GV stuff than actually team license gear. But I digress. We move on. The Browns wording and the AFC logo still the same. So basically just switching those two.
Yeah, and the helmet's that kind of flat 2-dimensional Browns helmet logo.
Almost like gives like an old school, but it's got that black or brown trim instead of the gray like it used to be. So, all right. So that's option number 2. Option number 3, and you can see them on your screen. But if you're listening to the audio on Google, Spotify, or Apple, we'll try to describe them as much as we can. Just go to Browns.com. You'll see them. You go to option number 3 and kind of the new style when they brought out like the new coloring for the Browns. You got that helmet next to the word Browns. This time the letters are in orange, trimmed in white. Still got that AFC logo because every AFC team is going to have that. And in the center, it is Brownie the Elf just holding the football.
The modern elf.
Modern elf holding the football. Guess that would be his right arm up against his body. Not in a good position if he was going to go run the football, but still holding it nonetheless. And the final option, I believe, just switches. Actually, no, it does not.
It's a more 3-dimensional helmet.
Yeah,
the old school elf.
Yep.
With the orange.
But Browns are in
helmet.
orange on both the option 3 and 4.
So I believe the first option had the elf that was the new age elf in the end zone.
Here, we'll go back there.
Yeah. So like the
Nope,
No,
that's
it's still the old one.
oh, still that one. So there's only one option that has the elf that's
The modern elf.
the modern elf.
That's going to be option 3.
That's my favorite.
Okay.
So the modern elf in the middle of the field at the 50-yard line.
With the brown. I like the orange. I'm team orange for you. And I love the lettering in orange.
Okay, Peter, have you had a chance to look at him? Did you cast a vote?
I did not cast my vote yet. I do kind of lean towards this one as well.
You like Sue Robinson,
but
can't make a decision on a field.
But the thing is, I actually prefer the letters in white in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
But I do kind of like the more modern elf in the middle there. Yeah, I do. This one I think would be my pick.
Would be with the orange lettering, white trim.
I prefer the white lettering, but I like this elf at the 50.
Elf is the one that does it. So
I think my close second is going to be your pick, Kevin.
My pick is number 2.
So
with the elf running the football, the old school elf in the middle.
That's right
field.
behind my pick. I love this. Both elves.
I would not be disappointed if this was what we had.
Yes,
so
I love it.
Just like you, Peter, I love the white lettering kind of trimmed in the orange. For some reason, I feel like it just pops in the end zone
because of the other 2 logos in there.
I guess the only part about this one I don't like, but it was the best one that I saw, and this is the one I actually voted for and casted my vote. Jay, did you cast a vote too?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the one that you guys were just talking about, it's the helmet. Like I kind of want like the new version of the helmet, more like the 3D.
Oh, the more 3-dimensional helmet.
3-dimensional helmet. If you had that with the elf that I'm looking for in the middle of the field, I really like that. But again, a lot of these, no matter which way they go, I think it's a good. They're trying to implement the elf more, and I think that fans are really liking that. I think that's one of the biggest draws.
Well, I just saw something. It's like I think it was on Facebook. It was Brown's helmet. They're like, finally, Brown's helmet with the logo.
And then put the Browns helmet on the logo. Yes, that's hilarious. I've seen it a couple of times.
I was like, oh, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I've seen it was like Browns released the white helmet, and then it had the logo of the orange helmet on the white helmet. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much Team Elf on this show.
I think so. I mean,
yeah.
it's the closest thing we really have to a mascot.
Everyone says, like, oh, it's not a tough mascot. I think the elf is very fitting. We're very underdog. We're tough, and we'll get through anything, no matter how small we are.
And it's not that I can even explain it. It just feels like it fits, and I understand. Yeah, you're saying an elf isn't tough enough or whatever. Hey,
they make great cookies.
They do.
Yes.
Those Keebler elves.
Yeah. Hey, make some
the relatives of the brownie elf.
Sure.
Get with your friends at Nabisco and try to get those gluten free because I'll take some of those. I can't just keep eating Oreos. I got to get some.
So there you go. We need Keebler to start making brownies, but use the brownie elf to sell them.
Yes. We're on to something, Keebler.
Gluten free though for Kevin.
Yes.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I know where you can get some good gluten free flour. At least I know what. Look, I mean, this is kind of the fun stuff that you like going into the season, and you wish you didn't have that one thing hanging over. And to be honest, if the news does break tomorrow, I know that everybody is going to try to have their hottest takes. I know that a lot of us, we run our social media site at VT_pod, especially on Twitter. there might be a tweet from there, but we're not going to be ones like fully reacting because we know some sort of news is coming, whatever that may be. Immediate reaction will be right there. You'll get plenty of people trying to give the hot takes. We know our place, and if we're going to tweet, it's going to be at Kevan and 7, KEVANINSEVAN. For those just listening to the audio, for Always Positive J, it's at Always Positive J.
Pretty
easy. And Peter, it's at LPV Productions on Twitter and social media. But again, we'll be realistic about it. We're not just going to try to. If you want to hit the heart, the clouds, as our friend of the show Tony Rizzo calls them on Twitter, that's fine. If you don't, if we say something or if we say something on our Twitter page, that's fine. Either way, we're going to be respectful about it. And I think that's the message. Know that news is coming. People are going to feel different ways. It's probably futile to try to even ask this of people, but be respectful because again, it's going to hit people different ways depending on what the news actually is. Listen to what other people say. And that's all I'm going to say about that. We got a little bit of fun and some football in the show. So that's good. We got one final segment to go.
We got to say goodbye to a legend.
We do have to say goodbye to a legend. And we do need to at least briefly touch on the trade deadline for the Guardians because
who they won and Twins lost today. So we are one game out of first place.
One game out of first. So we're going through the same roller coaster we've been.
We're just down. We get close. We go back down. We go up. We go down. We go up. We go down.
But you're turning the calendar tomorrow to August, and that's when the baseball season really starts to ramp up. You get the trade deadline to try to make that final push. Will the Guardians do it? We'll touch on that and honor a legend on the other side of our final break right here on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout Northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
Welcome back one final time on this Sunday, final day of July 2022 to the Voice of the Land. Kevin Arnold, Always Positive J, producer extraordinaire, audio. And before we do honor a legend, we'll just quickly kind of go through with the Guardians. I know they went 2-2 against the Red Sox coming out of the, kind of starting this week. And then you go down to Tampa Bay, you get 2 out of 3, and that's what you got to do. You got to win these series. The 4-game series, you would love to take 3 or 4. Red Sox, even though they are down in the division and they got ripped in their first series coming out of the All-Star break. I think there was a game that was 28-5.
Mm-hmm.
They're still a good team, and the AL East is a tough division. The Yankees are just running away with things.
They lost today to Kansas City,
and that's probably going to happen.
The
Yankees.
Good.
I mean,
I'm not upset with them at all.
It's like, hey, we gave you Andrew Benintendi.
Don't even bring it up. You had to bring it up.
I did because
my dream player I wanted, and the damn Yankees got him.
I had to bring it up to transition into the trade deadline because that's been a name that you have been saying for a while, Jay.
Yeah, and the Yankees get him. Like, just killed me.
I think the whole, anybody saying Juan Soto and trying to link him to the Guardians, that's a pipe dream at best.
Well, that's the one thing about Cleveland. Anytime, no matter what sport, if someone's available, everyone goes to their trade manufacturing app, and they're like, we could get him if we. And that's when you hear this saying, we'll trade Sasha Pavlovich and Aaron Newbold, and we'll get Durant. Come on, you're like. Every time someone's available, we all clutter for him, and I fell for it with Andrew Benintendi.
Another big pet peeve of sports Twitter is, especially here in Cleveland, it's, this guy just requested a trade. He's really talented. Look, let's go find a way to get him. Oh, can the Cavs get him? Can the Browns get this player that wants out or is just released?
Especially when they're like individual
Yeah.
in division players. Like
Yeah.
they're not even going to trade him no matter what we offer to us. But yeah,
Guess what? If the Guardians traded for Juan Soto, I'd be over.
I'd be
the
doing
moon.
backflips.
Absolutely, because you
It's
still
just
got.
not going to happen.
But a guy that just turned down 15 years, 400, 500 million.
If they did something like that, it would have been because they have, I think, 2 more years, and it was like
Right.
an all-in deal. We're
And-
not ready to go all in right now.
And that's what the Guardians do is they find a way to make trades for impactful players that they have control over. That's the main word in the network or in the organization. I see that our resident doctor and big baseball fan of this show, my wife Jan is she's waving me off.
She got waved off.
Football thing. And she was trying to be in the breaking news desk, but apparently there's no breaking news. So what is it?
NFLPA and Deshaun will stand by the judge's ruling, and they're asking the NFL to do the same.
Okay.
That when you hear
According
that,
to who?
Schefter.
Okay, so according to Adam Schefter on Twitter and Jana Arnold at our breaking news desk, Adam Schefter tweeting out that Deshaun Watson, the NFLPA, will stand by whatever decision Judge Sue L. Robinson makes. They're asking the NFL to do the same.
thank you from the breaking desk room. You're awesome.
That's what they're doing. That's
From the
what-
news floor.
From the news floor.
Breaking news.
I thought she was going to be sleeping during the show.
I thought I was going to be sleeping during the show.
We got our Dole Whip, and then she was ready to just take.
What
a
I
nap.
hear when she said that, though, the first thing I thought of, it's not going to be a long suspension. I highly doubt it's going to be a long suspension. They are happy with what they did, so
Yeah.
it's going to be nothing more than 6. It's my guess.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to kind of guess it because you feel like the information would go to the main parties involved first, or you start to get an indication of it first before like just having it thrown at you because both sides have to prepare for it too, and then like the Browns need to have a plan in place as well because they've just been
They're going to want to be able to have a statement ready for whatever it is. So
yes, and because those statements come out very, very quickly, and now I just got slid a phone on the ground. So excuse me if you're just listening to the audio.
pan
I'm about
over.
to slide away from the microphone for a second.
we'll take Jay there.
Where's
Like,
Kevin go?
Jay,
He's back.
And I'm back. I told you only a second. But I mean, we kind of said that like we asked the NFL as well to everybody at this point just needs to stand by what that is. The first thing I thought of, and it's probably not the best thing to think of because we're actually reacting to the news. Usually on this show, the breaking news comes out after we're done.
Yes.
So we finally
So as soon as we sign off, we'll know.
It'll leak. It'll leak.
it'll leak. Yeah. So, but yeah,
We should have took a vacation. It would have dropped already.
yeah. At this point, who knows what really will happen? But it's time for the news to come out. Everybody to move on.
Yes.
That's-
Back to what we were saying. though.
Back to.
Do you think the Indians are going to be buyers or sellers?
Well, they're not going to be anything because they unfortunately don't exist
The
anymore.
Guardian.
Guardians. I keep doing it one of these days.
I have,
And I'm the one that has the Guardians jersey, and I'm having the worst time
got-
transitioning
I
to
got a
this.
Guardians jersey too.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's a nice.
How much did you have to pay for yours? Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, I didn't even have to buy a ticket to the game. It was given out.
That's awesome. No,
It was a giveaway jersey, but I didn't have to pay any money to even get to that game, and I still have it. I love the red. I love their red jerseys.
oh, I know. That's what I got, the red Jose jersey, and I absolutely love it.
But like we were saying with the Guardians, control is the word. That's if they're going to make a trade to bring someone in as a buyer, they want some control. That's what they had with Andrew Miller
Mhm.
and some of these other guys that they've brought in. Control.
Do you believe anything about the rumors with Shane Bieber being on the trade block?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure the organization is getting
Hold
calls
on,
about that.
we got
Not this year, next year.
well,
Not this year, next
the
year.
breaking news says
Yeah, she's
next year
From the
guys.
news floor.
From the news floor.
Now we're getting like another audio in this place.
Do you want a seat? You're more than welcome to
We
join
got
the
another
show.
microphone if you really want to join.
We're putting you on next week. You're going on.
All right. So those that are actually still listening to this podcast right now, whether you're watching live or on replay, or you're listening to the audio on Google, Spotify, or Apple, I think it's still at Jana Fence the Maker on Twitter, right? Oh, you finally changed it?
I don't know, maybe not.
I think she changed her main name, but the @ at Jana Fence the Maker on Twitter. Tell her she needs. Let's get the trend rolling. Hashtag Jana on mic.
Yes.
Jana on mic.
No one's listening.
Thanks. I really appreciate the
Hey,
support.
we just got over 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. People are listening.
They might be bots, but that's okay. The closer we get to be able to monetize that, that's totally fine. I don't care who they are, if they're real or not. You know, I told you guys that when we got all those followers on Twitter and YouTube, I was like, we should do a segment that says real or not.
Just go through the followers. That would be great.
We could do that.
Just make fun, because there was a trend on Twitter where people were like calling out some of these well-known Twitter people about they have this many.
I did mine. I had like, because anytime someone follows me, I go on their page, because I'll usually follow you back, but I'll go on their page. But if I see like joined in July 2 followers, I'm like, no, I know you're a bot, blocked. I probably have more people blocked than Tony Grossi on Twitter.
Oh, and I failed to mention on Instagram we got a direct message.
Okay.
And we thought we got like a new follower. I'm not gonna say like what the name is or anything, but they're like asking us to help them log into their account or something like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, but send me the code. Did you get? Yeah. Was one of those?
I'm not even gonna respond. I'm not even.
But was it one of those? You know?
Yeah. So
someone's trying to steal our Instagram account. Do we have an Instagram account?
We do at
VTL.
I have an Instagram account.
Yeah, he does. Jay's now on Instagram.
You know, I actually got one of those too. I can't remember what it was for, but it was might have been for one of my bank accounts or something, or credit card accounts. And they're like, "Oh, I need this code," and it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Scammers make me laugh when they call, and I know they are one, because they'll be like, "Oh, we want to lower your student loan rate, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh, awesome," you know. And I'll sit there and I'll BS with them for so long and lead them on and be like, "So how much can you lower my student loans I never had?" And they're like, "Click." It's like, okay, I thought so.
Yeah, scammers are out there, and
thank God my phone just tells me it's a scam now.
Yeah, you get that too.
But there's been conversations about that. I know iPhone's like trying to change it so that you at least see like more of a caller ID, so that you can see who's actually calling. Like if it's a hospital or something, there's been ways that those phone numbers, like people need like medical information, and it's coming through being read as a scam. So, so that there's been like news stories on the local.
They're I mean, at my day job, we'll get emails that come, and they look like they're coming from our CEO. And they'll be like, "Oh, hey, you know, I lost my wallet. I need you to like."
That's becoming a trend.
Send me money. Yeah, like send money. And you just have to be careful, because if you look at who it's actually coming from, it's fake. But they doctor it up to make it look like it's a legit email.
Go email me. I need money. I'm like, I don't have any more.
It's like,
I can't even afford to pay attention right now.
There you go.
If you're able to scam someone into like giving you $1, and then you try to get stuff from me, that person gave you more money than I have to my name at that point.
That's why I like watching those YouTube videos where they mess with the scammers.
Oh yeah. Speaking of scammers, though, there's probably going to be some rumors that get floated out there over the next 24 hours in the Major League Baseball trade deadline that fans, whatever team it is, especially here in Cleveland, are going to get excited about. But it's a lot of smoke, no fire to those, and that's where you get like those last few hours leading up to a deadline. You get all these rumors, they don't come to fruition, then fans get upset when actually none of those conversations are really going on. It's people trying to float it out there for whatever reason. If I had to guess right now, Guardians more so, I would say stand pat than buy or sell.
I think they're going to get a bullpen help. That's it. Which is one of the biggest things every year. Every team wants more bullpen help.
And that's one of those things where if you do that, I can't consider you a buyer. A buyer is someone that goes out and does go get Juan Soto, and they're in a pennant race, or they go out and get Wilson Contreras, thinking that he can kind of help you for whatever amount of time, because he's been hugging all of his teammates, thinking he's played his last game at Wrigley Field. Peter, buy, sell, stand pat. If we put a poll out this week before the trade deadline, where would you vote on that? For the Guardians, at least.
I would lean towards stand pat, maybe buy. I don't think they're looking to sell. They're too close to being in the thick of things.
If you sell at this time, a fan base that's already frustrated with how it operates, or at least
I highly doubt they'll sell, though.
I highly doubt they'll sell, but again, making predictions is very difficult. And yes, we have the great front office and a coaching staff that develops players. And A lot of these young players have come up and played well this year. And hopefully Oscar Gonzalez comes back, and then you can still find a way to have Nolan Jones in the lineup. But I would say more so stand pat, add a bullpen arm, like pitching help, but not in a way that you're mortgaging the future, like not going.
I want
all
these
in.
guys to just develop. Like, I'm actually set with the outfielders.
And people may define it differently than I do, but when I'm thinking like buy, sell, or stand pat, even if you make a deal or something, I'm saying buy, you are all in going for the win, the championship that year. If you're sell, you're fully going into rebuild mode. A lot of your main players, like a Shane Bieber, things like that, you're trading off and you're getting so many of these prospects back. Stand pat is like, okay, you make a little deal here, a little deal there.
Let's say they trade Bieber and they got a starter for a starter, which you very rarely see.
Right.
It's always a starter for prospects. But if they did do the uncommon trade, then they'd be buyers because they know they have the pitching to back Bieber up. They just don't have the power hitting. So if they went out and I don't think it's going to happen just to talk. They went and traded Shane Bieber straight up for Juan Soto. Then you're a buyer. But if you go and you get 5 prospects, then you're a seller.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, again, straight up in that trade, you're being a buyer saying that we have the pitching we can still believe in. We feel like we can get rid of a guy like Shane Bieber, who's still supposed to be your number one, which again, that's a weird message, but just staying with the example, you're saying we need more help offensively. We have plenty of pitching depth here. And then,
I mean, they got the pitching printer over there somewhere. They just print out pitchers in 3Ds,
and they somehow draft them well. They trade for them well. They develop them well.
We had 2 bullpen games in this road trip and won them both.
Yeah.
Well, today was a bullpen.
Shaw started both of them.
I mean, we got the best closer in baseball right now in Class A.
Yes. Yeah. If that's how Shaw's going to be, give him like the first or second inning, because I'm not going to get into it right now. We don't have time because
we have to honor someone.
So again, around the table, buy, sell, or stand pat, Jay.
I think they're stand pat, like just slightly buy.
Gotcha. Peter, I know you said stand pat.
I think
right?
stand pat.
I think we're all kind of all in the same boat. Maybe those minor little deals to kind of just give some
maybe a little bolster, but I think
bolster depth.
Buy, yeah, I don't think they're looking to get rid. They're not looking to start again next year. I think they're going to push this year.
Yeah, but not the buy that everybody would think, and they better not sell, because don't worry, we'll be on this show making sure that if you go sell, we'll be one of the biggest voices out there. We won't need to hide behind any computer screens on Twitter. It'll be right here on the Voice of the Land, the Big Play Network. And to close out the show, it is only right. Save the best for last, but an unfortunate story for last. NBA legend, one of the greatest of all times, 11-time champion, won a gold. 11-time champion, a true humanitarian, someone who has helped progress society and has been a big proponent for that, especially back in the 60s, but has been a big voice for the entire time. And the conversations about who is the greatest of all time, and people talk about championships. Everybody loves to forget that Bill Russell of Boston Celtics lore has 11 championships. But again, and I tweeted this out, absolute legend on and off the floor. We did lose him today at the age of 88. His family, his foundation tweeted out from his account that unfortunately Bill Russell has passed away. If you'd seen him over the last few months, you could tell his health was not in the best of ways. But boy, that is one of the guys that I was shown black and white footage, highlights of by my dad when he taught me the game of basketball and told me to remember how good Bill Russell truly was, because people won't talk about him. And I have always mentioned him in conversations like that. But again, a great person for our society. Jay,
he's in the top 5 greatest players ever. You got Michael Jordan, LeBron, Bill Russell. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Whatever, those 3 right there. I mean, Kareem is another one.
Will Chamberlain.
Yes. And everyone says they're like, oh, he didn't have confidence. Dude was playing against Wilt Chamberlain, a guy who scored 100 points in the game, was just dominant. And he won 11 championships in that era. Like, what a phenomenal player. Like, 11. That's insane.
And I think that when people say like, he didn't play against anybody in the era, guess what? That was the era he played in. So so if there wasn't as deep of a NBA or a league to play against, that's not on him. But no matter what era you have played in, winning a championship is very, very difficult. Bill Russell won 11. I think he was 5-time MVP.
And it was a much more physical game then too. So he had to survive a much harder game and win 11 of those.
And again, a piece of basketball history that has helped the game progress to what it is today. Him and his fellow players in his era progressed to the next era, to the next era.
I mean, he's got one of the most iconic photos of all time when he's got all the rings on his hand. He's just smiling. I'm like, I absolutely love that poster.
And again, a great, great human being and focal point. Peter, I know we don't talk as much basketball on here, especially out of season. There's not really a lot going on, and the Cavs are still kind of in a point where you maybe not, just like the Guardians, they're not fully by just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Bill Russell, you have to mention his name when you mention absolute legend.
Well, exactly. And I mean, and you guys know I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I know Bill Russell, right? Because like you said, Jay, it's that period, right? That was the time he played, and 11 rings. That's insane. And
it's not like he was Robert Horry, no disrespect,
but
who was a role player winning, I think, won 7. This guy was the leading player winning 11.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, I think it's really a disservice, even now when so many people spend so much time debating Jordan versus LeBron, because the game's changed, things are different, and we really should look at
who's the best player of their era.
Right? Because you could look at LeBron, great player, Jordan, great player,
Kobe, great player.
But Bill Russell, I mean, come on. That's he should be,
as I said,
top, right?
Kobe was my 5th. Those are your top 5 greatest NBA players, in my opinion. Like,
and
you just can't argue against those guys. They're so good. And when you have 11 championships, that is just the ultimate stumper on everybody.
But see, that's like when you talk baseball and you talk Babe Ruth, one of the greatest players, oh, well, he would do terrible today. That's beside the point.
Yeah. Bill Russell is when it comes. He's the Nolan Ryan of basketball. Like, Nolan Ryan, I consider the greatest pitcher ever, but everyone says Cy Young because the award's named after him. Nolan Ryan gets nowhere near the recognition he should get in baseball. The same with Bill Russell.
I mean, there's probably a handful of players throughout all of sports that have been overlooked with their greatness. I just continue to say we can debate what position greatest of all time these players should be in. But if you get a chance to witness a once-in-a-generation player, Bill Russell was of his generation, Jordan was of his, LeBron is of his, we can go on and on and on. If you get a chance to do that, respect and witness the greatness, and as history goes on, make sure future generations know who those other pioneers, who those other great generational, once-in-a-generational players were. That's what my dad did for me in a sport that I absolutely love in basketball, but also taught me who Bill Russell was off the floor. A true, and this is going to be our one shout out, well wishes, prayers to the entire Russell family, to the entire NBA community, all of his friends everywhere. Bill Russell will be missed, but will not be forgotten for what he did for the game of basketball and beyond. Rest in peace, rest in power to an absolute legend in Bill Russell. And not a sad way to end the show.
I mean,
but these things happen in life, and life is real. But it's important that we celebrate who Bill Russell was and don't forget that and allow that to continue to impact our society in the right direction.
You can argue if he's the greatest player or not the greatest player, and that you can argue that all day. You can't argue against he's the greatest champion ever in the NBA.
Or is champion. And when you say that you can argue greatest, not the greatest, there's a reason why you can argue he's greatest, not greatest, because what he did was greatness personified
Mhm.
every single time, and best champion of all time as well. So rest in power to Bill Russell. And that is how we will close this edition of The Voice of the Land. Stay tuned to our social media sites on how we're going to operate next week. We'll actually be out at training camp as well. When the show is going to be, we don't know yet, but some things in the works with the Big Play Network, and we want to be a part of that with the Big Play family. So stay tuned to Big Play on Twitter as well as at VTL_pod. Until then, for Always Positive Jay, Audio, our producer extraordinaire, I am Kevin Arnold. So happy I get to remind all of you again, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We truly love you all 3,000. As our great late friend Mike Allen always used to say, and how I drive my golf carts, all gas, no brakes. We'll see you all next week sometime on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.